Hey keyboard nerds, today's a fun one. So I've always been fascinated by how musicians make a living. Not easy to do, and there's a million ways to do it, and this is one of the most unique jobs that I've ever come across as a keyboard player. I'm from Canada, and in Canada, hockey is life.
How's it going, eh? Pretty good, eh?
I recently had the pleasure to go behind the scenes of one of the biggest hockey clubs, the Edmonton Oilers, and I got the chance to speak with Vinny, the Oilers organist. Now Vinny is the man sitting there at this organ, waiting to play songs with the split second's notice, and he has to know all of those classic hockey tunes. And we all know these tunes. As soon as you hear them, you're like, oh, it's so nostalgic. We've all heard them when watching hockey games. So imagine being the organ player playing to 18,000 people every time that you go to work and making sure that you play exactly the right thing at the right moment. And here's the question. Can the notes that you play influence the game? Maybe, eh? Let's find out. Okay, so we are here today with the most important member of the Edmonton Oilers, Vinny, the Edmonton Oilers organist. How you doing, Vinny?
I'm doing good. It's game day.
Do you still get a little bit of adrenaline before a big game like this?
I get adrenaline the whole day of a big game, to tell you the truth. It's great. You know, I got my game day activities, and I got to put my lucky underwear on.
There's a whole ritual.
Well, it's sports.
This.
It's all about superstition, right?
Don't you feel like you have something to do with the wins or the losses as the organ player?
No, I'm just there to have a good time. It's one of the coldest working environments you can be in, so I am in 3 layers for at least half the night.
People don't think about that. Like, arenas are just inherently cold.
Well, the Oilers have the best ice surface in the NHL, and the reason for that is an hour before game time, they run the chillers full tilt. That building drops down, at least where I am, to about 12 degrees Celsius, and it's halfway through the second period before you could actually take your jacket off.
Wow, so great for the puck, great for the play, but not so great for Vinny the organist's hands.
Yes, so this is my sacrifice, and I gladly make it, but you know, space heater would be nice if my boss is watching.
So when we talked before, you mentioned that your dad used to pick you up from this very house.
Pick me up exactly where you parked. We would go down to the old Edmonton Coliseum in the Northlands area.
The Northlands Coliseum?
Yeah, and this was during the last few years of the WHA. When the Oilers were in the WHA, I saw some amazing players there. I saw, who didn't I see? I think I saw Bobby Orr there. Wow. I saw Bobby Hull. I saw Boom Boom Jeffrey all those guys playing for the WHA teams that they finished up with. So Dad would pick me up on Tuesday nights. We'd go see the home games. Walk in, get rush tickets, pairs of rush tickets for $12 a piece. But the idea behind sports organ is that there wasn't a lot else in the arena. The recordings were poor quality. Yeah. Tape cartridges were not, you know, for radio commercials and things was the best media they had. So the organ was about all the musical entertainment they had. And when Dad and I went down to watch the Oilers, I learned all of those licks over a period of maybe 2 or 3 years watching the games.
Okay, I want to talk a lot about those in a minute here. But, you know, I know that in 1929, with the Chicago Blackhawks was when they first introduced a pipe organ.
The big pipe organ.
The big pipe organ. And it's like
Stadium.
over 3,000 pipes, and it was as loud as 22 brass bands. And then, sure enough, every franchise then went and installed an organ of some sort into their stadium. And I guess that's where this whole thing was born, this tradition of the organ being the entertainment. You would have the announcer and the organist, right?
Yeah, and you know, this was in the late 70s. You know, you might hear a track during the intermissions.
Yeah.
And of course, pre-recorded commercials and announcements and things like that. But other than that, the organ was it. And the thing about the organ, originally the sports organs were usually Wurlitzers.
Yes.
But then they became Hammonds, is that they sound great amplified as loud as you can go.
Through the public address system.
Through the PA system.
Yes. So when did you first become aware of the organ in hockey? Was it like right away? Was that just a part? Did that catch your ear right away?
Oh, for sure, because this huge instrument, you know, of course, 6 or 7 years old, your head's just ringing with this B3 sound.
Yeah.
My first hockey game was the Oil Kings. I was probably about 6 or 7 years old, much more interested in the popcorn. But they had a Hammond up in the stands there, and that was a big old echoey brick building. And you know, I was, what a wonderful sound.
Oh man, and the 10-year-old Vinny, do you think that the 10-year-old Vinny could ever imagine that you would be the stadium organ player for the Edmonton Oilers?
I mean, this is through the looking glass at this point. When I got this gig, I thought, this is too good to be true, right? Because, yeah, and a lot of people, when they do tours at Rogers Place, are surprised that it's a human playing the organ.
Tell me about the call.
When I finally got the call, they said, your audition is going to be play an entire game by yourself. So I played, I think they were playing Carolina Hurricanes, but I'm not sure. And I guess I got enough of my cues that they invited me back, and I haven't looked back.
Wow. There's a story about a baseball organist that played the Three Blind
Mice. That's an urban myth.
Is
Let me
it?
clean that up once and for all. And it's around hockey as well.
Okay.
That because the referee and the two linesmen make the calls,
Yes.
that after a questionable call, the organist played Three Blind Mice.
Yes.
That is an urban myth. I've heard that from hundreds of people, so it can't be true.
There you go. You just heard it from the source. Yeah. That is an urban myth. How big of a hockey fan are you?
Well, when we were kids, of course, everybody was a hockey fan. I saw Gretzky, I saw Yuri Curry, I saw the great cup wins, you know, in the 80s. So having witnessed that stuff live, of course, you always remember that. It's actually interesting because you have to be a little bit of a hockey fan to follow the game because you have to anticipate the calls so quickly.
Yeah, exactly. This is one of those jobs where not only do you have to really know this, but you also have to really know the game.
That's right, yeah.
And if you didn't really know the game, you can't really do the gig.
Well, you can't anticipate the calls, the penalties, and the goal scoring, even that, you know, can be really split second.
Yeah.
You know, to put it in perspective, Dieter Rooley, who's the organist for the LA Kings and also the LA Dodgers, you know, is a legend, and he never stops playing during all the games. You know, that's the level of organist I'd like to be, but, you know, got to start down here. Let's see what I can
So
do.
there's always somebody to aspire to, or do you feel that you can always get a little bit better?
Oh, of course, yeah, and you know, just learning new licks, learning new stings, learning new tunes. You know, I played 3 original, well, not original, but 3 fresh tunes every game.
Well, I've been following you. I've known of you for a long time. So you reached out and made a comment on our Universe of Keys page and said that you were maybe playing some of the Universe of Keys or some of my blues licks.
Yep.
And I ran upstairs and I said to Candace, "You're not going to believe this."
No, that's true. When I got this gig, I had to research a little bit about Hammond. You know, being a classical and jazz pianist translates a little bit to organ, but not completely. So, you know, of course, the algorithm immediately dishes me up Universe of Keys, and I said, "Oh, that F minor blues lick, I can do that. That's really cool." So yeah, you'll hear that tonight during the game, I guarantee you.
Very cool.
Yeah, so make sure to put that on your resume.
I'm putting that on my resume. So you really have to kind of be on your toes in these games, hey? Like it's because it's just split second stuff happening.
So I play when the game day director, you know, we're all on a production line with headphones on. When he wants me to play, I'm only one of several resources. You know, there's the DJs. There's the Oilers drum and brass band, which is an in-house, you know, brass and drum band who gets to play a lot of the face-offs, and they're great. You know, they're 8 or 9 musicians just ripping up there. And of course, there's the paid-for promotions and the recordings and the little stings that they show on the clock, and then the organ. So my times to play are when the game day director wants me to, and then my cue is "Go organ." I got to know
Really?
what to play. So
That's
go
it.
organ.
You're sitting there looking at the screen with a set of headphones, and somebody says through your headphones without warning, "Go organ."
Go Oregon! Go Oregon! Go Oregon! Yeah. Now some of them are obvious, so penalty calls. I play on those, so I had to be available for those. Goal stings, which we'll hear in a minute.
Do you ever give the players some constructive criticism after the game? Like, do you ever go up to McDavid and kind of say, you know, I think if you...
Oh, I say lots of things about McDavid and Draisaitl, and one day maybe they'll hear them, but I'm not going to go. No, the boys, they're great. I love them. So if you want to hear me at my best, get in your seat by the end of the warm-up.
Okay.
From that point on, the organ is live for the whole game, so I can't try things, I can't play with things. The organ is live and over the live PA. That's because no sound guy could hit the slider fast enough to respond to the gameplay.
Okay.
So they've dropped the puck. I only play under certain circumstances when directed by the game day director over my clamshell headphones. The first one I want to show you is when the Oilers score.
Yes.
So, they score, they play the horn, they play the siren, they play their DJ lick. Yeah. And eventually, Al Stafford, who's the voice of the Edmonton Oilers and a good friend of mine, gets around to announcing the goal, the Oilers goal. So he'll say, Oilers goal scored by number 97, Connor McDavid. Assisted by number 29, Leon Draisaitl. And by number 27, Brett Kulak. That's just a ta-da. That's what I decided to use for a game sting. Other organists do. Or something like that. The thing that's highly valued is quick, crisp transitions. Nobody playing over anybody speaking. Nobody speaking over anybody playing. That kind of thing, right? As gameplay continues, there might be a penalty call. So a penalty call is when the ref puts his hand up. You have to anticipate that because it's only when whoever the penalty is called against, when they touch the puck, that's when play stops, and my game day director will say, "Go Oregon! Go Oregon!" And I have to play a short lick until the referee skates up and announces the goal over the public address system. So what I like to do for that might be something like, and then the referee will make the announcement.
A little Sabbath.
Yeah. Iron Man, that's what that is. So I've got a bunch of those little quick licks that are recognizable, might do. Stuff like that. The thing is to get done by the time the referee flicks his microphone on and makes the announcement.
See, keyboard nerds, inverted fifths strike again.
Yeah, that's right, every time.
Yeah.
It's the perfect power chord. So the other time that I'll play is when the opposing team scores. Obviously you don't want to, blow the horn, run the siren for the opposing team. So, typically the bowl goes a little quiet and the game day director will say, "Go Oregon! Go Oregon!" And I've got to play something a little longer than the penalty kill, but recognizable. So I like... And the DJ will start at that point.
Amazing.
Face-offs, might be due to icing or some stoppage in gameplay. We're supposed to play right up to the puck dropping on the ice.
Okay.
But those are often called back by the linesmen, so sometimes you got to play through the face-off.
Wow. So this is heads up.
This is really heads-up stuff. You got to be watching the ice like a hawk. The DJ gets most of the face-offs simply because it's easy for him to start and stop.
Yes.
They also have clappers and cheers that are pre-recorded.
Okay.
That they use during those situations. Yeah. And the ODB band gets some of the face-offs too. But if for some reason there's a large sequence of face-offs, I can get one. And that's when I can actually shine. I love them. So the game day director will say, "Go Oregon," so I get to do. Then into the cheer. Come on, Liney, drop the puck. Come on, drop the puck. And finally, hopefully the puck
this is so nostalgic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing.
That's a sound that just brings you back. Right?
Oh, totally. Wow.
Now, another situation it can be when they have dropped the puck but called back the face-off. And these, you got to be just watch like a hawk for these. The DJ sometimes can't reload a track fast enough. So if he can't, then I'll be the backup.
Okay.
And that's when you'll hear the clappers, the old clappers. But that's part of the,
That's
the
so
liturgy
cool.
of sports organ.
Totally. That just.
Yeah. I should point out for drawbar settings,
Yeah.
typical sports organ was all 8s right across
Okay,
the
so
board.
full drawbar for sports.
I don't like that because the bowl, Rogers Place is very responsive sometimes.
Yes.
So if my sound guy catches me with my reverb on, he gives me heck.
Really?
Yeah, because it's so ringy in there. I still like using it once in a while, but just
Yeah.
a touch. So I like to do like arch-shaped drawbars, taking a little bit of the mids out, but still heavy on the top and bottom, and that gives you that
Interesting.
nice full C3 chorus. And Leslie, I usually don't run fast, although sometimes, why not? Just to give the old.
There it is. That's the hockey drawbar setting. If you could teach a bunch of keyboard nerds one little simple thing that they could try, a hockey thing that's just really easy.
This is a trade secret.
Okay.
When you're doing the ta-da for the goal scores,
Yes.
add the 6th just at the end, and it makes the chords sparkle over the PA. So if you go, just add the 6th with your finger. That's too loud. And it makes the chords sparkle over the PA.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So we're here at Rogers Place, and we're so excited to see Vinny, the Oilers organist, do his thing. So you know what they say, let's go Oilers.
Go Oregon! This is Tyler Bosenkoop, the DJ. This guy knows his stuff. This is Al Stafford, the voice of the Edmonton Oilers. You'll hear him at all the goal announcements and other important public announcements. Say hi, Al. Hi, Al. Great. Josh Park, game day director. He's the guy calling the shots tonight. Say hi, Josh.
Hey guys.
Go Oregon! Some people you have to meet first of all. Mr. Stormtrooper. He's so that the opposition can't hit their targets. Babushka, family heirloom. JS himself with rock star hair. And hopefully one day the Oilers will have a cup again. So this is my workplace from a slightly different angle. There's the guys lined up on the A162. The DJ's actually starting up, so I don't have much time. It's quite loud in here already. Anyway, I'll watch gameplay on these screens behind me. I have to watch the game very carefully. I would never be able to see it 8 floors down to the ice surface, so that's why I'm up here. It's really cool up here. It's loud. It's sensory overload for the first time you're coming up here. And as I mentioned before, very cold. Anyway, just to see where I am. There you go. That's what I would have to look at in order to see the game. Go Oregon! Go Oregon! Go Oregon! Go Oregon! Go Oregon!
It was such a pleasure to talk to Vinny about his journey through music, how he got started on organ, and what it's like to be involved in these hugely high pressure situations playing behind the team. It was just fascinating. So thank you to Vinny, thank you to the Edmonton Oilers, and thank you for making a Canadian kid's dream come true. You know, I love hockey, but I love Oregon more. See you next time.